Hello and welcome to LoreDive, where we look into and analyze the stories behind all of our favorite video games. Today we're going right back into the Auric chapters for Dead by Daylight, and in this one we will sample the memories of David King, the man, the myth, the bod. As we peruse his evocations, we will get more of an idea of his general disposition, as well as answer the question of how a man with seemingly limitless possibilities found himself spending his time as a bouncer and muscle for an underground fight club.
King scrunches his broken fist. Cheers and hollers from a drunk crowd echo through the alleyway. He stares at his fallen opponent, bleeding face, busted nose, chipped teeth. He kicks him in the mouth to put the finishing touches on his handiwork. He never lost a fight. Not now. Not ever. Always bet on King. He glances over the crowd, spots Donnie, an old friend with a gambling problem. Not much of a problem if he continues to bet on me. King looks at his watch. He's late for a family meeting.
We learn a few different things from this very simple exchange. One is that David has always been a bit of a bruiser, at least as far back as is shown, enjoying a good old-fashioned brawl. He isn't particularly nice to his enemies, or any opponents that he comes across, a possible side effect of his overflowing ego. When David sees his friend Donnie, it's shown that he knows that Donnie has a problem with gambling, but rather than think that Donnie may need to get help for his addiction, he uses that addiction to fuel his own ego, further emphasizing the fact that David King is irresponsible.
King's father gives his mother hell for talking back for something he didn't quite understand. It's always the same crap. King grinds his teeth. Blood and warmth rush up his face. Every scrap, every single one he won because he saw his father's face on his opponent. He wants to lash out, to say something, anything. But to say something is to be cut off. But this time he's not thinking straight, or maybe he is. His father raises a hand to strike his mother. It happens faster than the thought to perceive it. One moment he snatches his father's arm, the next he's beating him black and blue for years of accumulated shit. He walks away while his mother tries to help his father up. You're out. Never show your face here again. Ungrateful bastard. Get out.
This one interaction speaks volumes about why King is the way he is. His father is a rich, abusive prick, and David has used his father to fuel his rage in all of his fights. It's very possible that this anger towards this man is what shaped King into a brawler. We get to see the moment where this dysfunctional relationship between these two finally comes to a head. David is no longer able to take his father's abuse, and when he goes to hit his mother, David manages to lay him out. This is how David finally broke and permanently severed the ties between him and his family.
He never really had friends. Not real ones, anyway. He had an entourage. A group of sods enjoying the high life with his credit card. Now he has no one. Not a single bloody friend to help him out. He had friends once upon a time in school, but that was long ago. He needs money. But money doesn't grow on trees, and no one wants to challenge him. Not after what he did to his last opponent. He needs a job. His accounts are near empty, and his old careless spending habits are hard to break. He meets with Tommy. Tommy has no room for him in his apartment. Wishes he did, but he doesn't. Mick wants to help, but his old lady won't let him. Same with Bill. And Harry. His ex has moved on, and she doesn't want to see his face. Something about being a shithead. He can't live in a hotel room forever. It drains the account. He remembers a face he recently spotted in a crowd at his last scrap. They were friends since they were toddlers. He was a genuine friend, even if they went separate ways. King looks him up. Castle Drive. He hails a taxi.
David learns the hard way that sometimes when you have money, your supposed friends are actually only friends of that money. In his moment of need, he found that many of his friends couldn't or wouldn't give him the time of day. But he may still have one friend. One genuine friend that may be able to help, even though he's down on his luck.
King hasn't felt real in a long time. He sits in Donnie's apartment drinking old ale, realizing how much he misses genuine heart-to-hearts. Donnie was his friend before he realized he came from money. The rich aren't really rich. He's not sure why he thinks this or what it means. It's just a random thought. The ale talking, as it were. Donnie says he can stay until he figures things out. He's not sure when that will be. It doesn't matter. A sudden rap at the door startles him. Donnie stands, opens the door to reveal a few men in black leather jackets. Muscle. King doesn't hear much. What he does hear, he doesn't like. Donnie owes money and can expect a bundle of lead in the face if he doesn't pay. He laughs when he returns to the kitchen table. It's your fault, King. I don't know who to bet on anymore.
A genuine conversation with a friend may have been just what David needed. He may not have money, but he has at least one friend he can count on. Unfortunately, Donnie's bad habits have gotten him into trouble, and his own future isn't certain. Still, David has managed to locate a life raft and a friend to drown his sorrows with, at least for the time being.
King lost his last 3 jobs and is going back to what he does best. A challenger steps into the circle in the dimly lit alley, double his size, massive. King doesn't care. A head's a head. He'll go down like the others. Crowd calls him the Ghetto Masher. The Ghetto Masher glares at him. The ref spits out rules he's heard 1,000 times. King stares at him and sees not his father, but his opponent. A bell sounds. With a bestial snarl, the Ghetto Masher lunges. King evades a wild blow that would have ripped his head off. He feels strange, unresponsive, confused. Donnie screams at him. He glances at him as he receives a massive fist to the skull. Black swirls across his eyes. He doesn't remember the thud against his skull. He doesn't remember his legs buckling. He doesn't even remember collapsing in a pile of festering garbage. He only remembers waking up on the couch in Donnie's apartment. He's lost his edge, his anger, his rage, his hate. Was that all he was? Donnie's asking if he's okay, and he's not sure. Am I okay? Will I be better? I don't know. Was it just a fluke? A lucky shot? Happens to the best. I feel wrecked. I am wrecked. Donnie bet the last of his cash on him.
Without King's anger and constant loathing of his father, he is carrying less rage with him into fights. While his hatred towards his father and living situation was not healthy before, he lost what made him so effective in the ring. He lost his edge. Without that anger, that drive, he doesn't have the same will to fight as he did before. And without that will, his ability to brawl has gone to shit. This might not have been so bad if it weren't for the fact that Donnie had bet on him, and David had let him down. Now Donnie was in his hole deeper than before, and David can't help but feel responsible.
King's getting the hang of working behind a bar. Donnie sips a beer and tells him he needs to find another reason to fight. King tells Donnie he needs to get home before the beer he's drinking turns to piss, before he gets in trouble. Too late. King spots 2 men. They approach Donnie, grab him, usher him into the basement. Not a good sign. King rushes to help, but his manager yells at him to stay behind the bar. Screw it. He leaps over the bar and rushes to the basement where he finds Donnie being beaten by Ghetto Masher and Uncle Brass watching in his chair. King doesn't hesitate. He tackles him. They exchange deadly blows. Ghetto Masher can hardly keep up. Uncle Brass sends others after King. Doesn't matter. King's a whirlwind of destruction. He cracks Ghetto's knees and thrusts his thumbs into his eye sockets. An eyeball pops out, still attached to a series of nerves. Cries of terror. Ghetto Masher cups his eyeball, screaming for medical help, staggers and slams against the wall as more ruffians attack. Stop! Uncle Brass stands and approaches. It's well within my power to rip your fucking head off for what you did to my boys. King staggers to his feet. Not a bloody joke, am I? His debt is paid if you work for me. He straightens up and brushes his jacket, smiles. Always bet on King.
I don't think that anyone would call David the most upstanding of individuals, but he's definitely a friend that you want on your side rather than an enemy opposing you. He may not be able to overpower the killers in the procedural, but he'll be damned if he's going to let his friends be bullied into submission. If you're in trouble, if you need a friend, if you want an ally to stand by you through thick and thin, remember David's motto: always bet on King.